I bought a boat, moved my wife, 3 kids, a dog, and a cat onto the boat, and we sailed down the East Coast for 18 months.
Oh, wow.
I got really bored, man. What are you doing today? I'm fixing the damn boat. There's something else wrong with it. I'm spending more money. I was spending over $10,000 a month on this boat
Ooh.
every single month of the 18 month, and some of them was higher than that. It cost me $20,000 to get out of the dock the very first time that I took
Wow.
it out. It was boat break out another 1,000 every time that you left the boat and you went into town to buy parts.
Mhm.
It was wild.
Listen, learn, get inspired. I'm Tavis Bryant, and this is BBQ Therapy. Like, subscribe, and follow to help grow the barbecue therapy community. Also, visit my website at www.barbecuetherapypodcast.com.
We gon' have barbecue, your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on.
Welcome to the BBQ Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant, and most people cook to follow recipes. Some people cook to impress, but few people cook to express who they are. Today's guest didn't just want a better seasoning, he wanted his voice in a bottle. Derrick Todd is the founder of Pool Boy Rubs and Seasonings, a brand built on balance, patience, and confidence in your own palate. This episode isn't just about rubs, it's about trusting your taste, standing on it, and letting your flavor speak for you. Derrick, welcome to Barbecue Therapy. I got one rule: make yourself at home. I have zero sponsors, so speak freely.
Thank you. So I have a tendency to use foul language. Is that going to be a problem, or should I keep it PG?
No, you fine. It's over 18 show.
All right.
All right. My first question: where are you originally from, and how did food show up in your life growing up?
Okay, so the first part is a difficult question to answer. And people ask that, and it's a normal question. You should be able to answer that. Where you from? But I was raised in a Jerry Springer environment, right? So I was all over the place. So I was originally born in Mobile, Alabama. And from there, we bounced back and forth to all kinds of different places, Bay Minette, and then my mom met this dude about when I was, I don't know, 11. Great guy. His name was Bob. We moved to New Jersey, then Virginia, and graduated high school. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I moved to the South Carolina area. But food started showing up in my life when I was at my grandma's house in Section 8 housing back in the 80s. She would go to the farmer's market. And I don't know if kids now understand this, but we used to get these big bushels of beans, and the old ladies and the kids would be around a table just popping them and peeling them. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So we were all hands on back then because we didn't have no food. My grandmother had food stamps. This is back when it wasn't SNAP, it was actual stamps in a
Mm-hmm.
book. So that's where food popped up in my life. I hope that answers your question. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you answered the question. I feel you. I'm in Georgia, and I mean, I understand it because I grew up that also, as far as the food wise, where with the folks joke about government cheese and back when powdered milk and all that. So I know about that life also. So we used to make big pots of beans, and we used to get leg quarters and chicken backs and all this other stuff. So I definitely understand what you're talking about. All right. And as far as you cooking, how did you learn to cook then, or how did you start getting into cooking?
No, this is going to be crazy. So when I was coming up, I made a list of all the things that I wanted in a wife. And I think everybody should do that. Your potential partner, all the things that you want. It could be, I don't know, 20, 40, 50 things, but there should only be like 5 that are non-negotiables. Like maybe one of those is she doesn't snort coke. Okay, fair. I wanted to marry a woman that did the cooking and cleaning. And since I was raised in the Jerry Springer family,
Mhm.
basically, I had to become sufficient in all aspects of my life. But the one that I didn't want to be was cooking. And I didn't really learn it back then. I should have, because my grandmother, she made a lot out of a little.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where I should have learned. I didn't though. I didn't. So cooking, so I started cooking. I had so the company is called Pool Boy Rubs, right? So I
Hmm.
was a pool boy for 22 years. I
Oh,
just
wow.
recently, 3 months back, sold my last pool company. It was a small one, and I focused all my attention on this barbecue rub company. But back in 2020, 2019, I had a retail swimming pool store. And I took it over in 2016. When I did that, they only sold chemicals. That was it.
Hmm.
Maybe one or two floats. And then obviously they sold the pumps, the filters, all of that jazz. I took it over and I had the whole shopping mall. I wanted to make it into a backyard store. So I busted down walls. I painted the walls. All of the walls were white. It was boring. But the people that ran it, they were solid people. They had it for 30 years prior to me taking it over. I brought in grills. I brought in Big Green Eggs. I brought in Green Mountain grills and this brand called Flame Broil, which is a gas grill. And I wanted to bring in ancillary products that would sell on a weekly, monthly basis, something like that, repeat. Whereas if you sell a $3,000 Big Green Egg, they're not coming back to buy another one for, I don't know, 20 or so years,
Hmm.
unless they're hardcore, then maybe. But I'm like, you know what? Let's figure this out. So the program was, the people that sold the eggs and the grills got a huge manufacturer's discount. So I'm like, all right, we did that. I brought a grill home and I started learning to cook. I started learning to grill right there on my Big Green Egg in 2018.
Hmm.
And I sucked at it. I did what everybody did. YouTube. It was like, how do you cook burgers? Oh yeah. When it just basic stuff. I was like, I was ignorant. So even now, I'm cooking a lot more intense stuff than I did back then. But most of my customers, if you look at people who post about Pool Boy Rubs on TikTok and YouTube, Insta, man, they're doing some intense stuff. And I'm like, I would have never thought to do what these people are doing. This is wild. And I'm like, so I'm never going to call myself a grill master. I'm just not, because I think that would be an insult to these people that are freaking awesome at running grills, smokers, and whatnot. So there you go.
Everybody have their part to play, so your part is the seasoning part, and you have perfected that. What was it about barbecue that made you want to understand it and not just do it?
I think it's partly the lifestyle, right? So for who do this a lot, and the community, there's a certain I got your back type of deal. It's like, come on in. You want to learn how to do a brisket? Great. I'm going to show you how I do my briskets. And you might want to do something different. But I feel like the community has embraced me, even though a lot of them still don't even know who I am. But the ones that do have just been like, come on in, brother, and give me this big warm hug and welcomed me. So, I mean, that's it right there. It's just a bunch of dudes and ladies that are just
Yeah,
hanging out.
that's how the community is. I can tell you from experience that my initial intent was to compete. And since my daughter was born right before I decided to do that, I postponed it. And while she's growing up right now, that's why I started the podcast. But I also go to competitions and walk around and go to barbecue classes, even though I'm still in the process of waiting. And that's how I just meet folks and get to know them and become friends with them. And now I know so many people just by walking around and just meeting folks. And now, since I just decided to start a podcast since I was in the house and I can't compete and stuff like that, and I have my daughter, but I've met so many people now that I can have enough people to come on the show, even though I'm not competing and out there every week like some of them, but they have embraced me and my wife because I brought her a few times and she sees how welcoming just barbecue people are compared to, like I say, people that you are flesh and blood with. So the community is awesome.
Yeah, I you guys that or the people that do the competition stuff, those dudes are intense, man. I being up all night long, checking temperatures, getting their wood right, injecting. Man, the thing that these men and women do to please judges is wild. I'm not sure if I've got it in me.
Yeah, it takes special people to that's a whole different environment because you spending all that money to feed 6 people to tell you your food is good or bad.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
So early on, what frustrated you about the store-bought seasoning?
I didn't have any, to be honest with you. I didn't have any at all really because when I started grilling, it was when I told you I brought in grills. So I became the largest big green egg dealer in the state of South Carolina. That's where my store was. It was in the Greer area, the upstate of that state. And I brought in all these rubs from like local people, and I brought in sauces and barbecue sauces, and some of this stuff is really freaking good. I'm not going to knock it at all. When I started grilling, that's the stuff that I used. I didn't go to the local grocery store. I just used the stuff that I was selling that
Mm,
was from the local people, or their big green egg makes a rub, or they probably don't make it, they probably private label it, but it was good stuff. I having a bit of a sense of humor, I was on my retail floor and I was stocking this rub, and I was like, you know what would be a funny name? Pool Boy Rubs. Since I was a pool boy, and it plays into that fantasy where the teenagers like looking at a video, right? And he sees the pool boy show up and was holding the pole, knocking on the door. And the lady opens the door in her nightgown, and he's, I'm here to clean your pool. And she goes, but I don't have a pool. And he drops the pole and is like, let's go. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can play into that fantasy. I can really dive into that. But I didn't just launch it right off because man, I was running a seven-figure company. I had 80 hours per week that I was working, and I had
Oof.
15 people working for me. So I bought the domain poolboyrubs.com. I got the Facebook, I got a couple other things, and I just parked it. I sold that business in 2021. I bought a boat, moved my wife, three kids, a dog, and a cat onto the boat, and we sailed down the East Coast for 18 months.
Oh wow.
Um, I got really bored, man. What are you doing today? I'm fixing the damn boat. There's something else wrong with it. I'm spending more money. I was spending over $10,000 a month on this boat
Ooh,
every single month of the 18 month, and some of them was higher than that. It cost me $20,000 to get out of the dock the very first time that I took
wow.
it out. It was boat break out another thousand every time that you left the boat and you went into town to buy parts.
Mhm.
It was wild. So I sold that boat and I moved here to Ruskin, Florida, and I started three more businesses, and one of them was the barbecue rubs, the pool boy rubs. I'm like, you know what? I had this thought, let's go ahead and cash in on this thought. This all purpose, this was my first one that I made, but it wasn't the first one that I formulated. The first one that I formulated was this one called the MILF Rub, but I didn't even have a name for it until I was already selling the Pool Boy All Purpose. And a friend of mine helped come up with that. He's a great guy. He lives in South Texas. I think I got off on a rabbit trail there.
All right. And when you start coming up with your own, whether did anybody teach you or you just went in the kitchen and started putting something together or how did that go about?
Nobody taught me. What I did was the local people that I was selling their rubs, one of these guys had a really good flavor that I really liked. So I looked on his ingredient list and I'm like, oh, okay, he's got some paprika in there, he's got some brown sugar in there, got a couple things. Let me see what I can do and put my own spin on it. So I did go in there and Frankenstein it, opened up the cupboard and started pulling out all this stuff and mixing it in a bowl and tasting it on a chip, or just like, all right, I think it needs a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. And then I got something that was real close to what I wanted. And then I'm like, all right, let me see if I can scale this from a little bitty bowl to something that bigger that I could work with and put in bottles. And that was me posting it on my Facebook. And I'm like, hey guys, listen, so I came up with this rub. I got this and I'm coming up with it. Would anybody like to try it? So I packaged up like some samples and I sent it out to, I don't know, 10, 15 of my friends that live in various parts of the country, and they tasted it and gave
Mhm.
me feedback, and I modified it to make it good. And I think I got it dialed in now, man. Everybody that tries it says that they like it. So unless people are just being really nice to me.
After that, how long did it take you to formulate that very first formula? Was it months or a
Mm,
week or so?
couple
Or
weeks. Couple weeks.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It
That's
wasn't it wasn't long.
and when did you decide to, hey, I'm just gonna go full scale and start bottling these and selling them to everybody?
That was a gradual process because I posted it on Facebook. And
Hmm.
when I posted it on my personal Facebook, I didn't even have a logo or nothing, but I did know what I wanted to call it, obviously. And people were like, "Hey, man, I would be interested in buying that from you." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So let me do some research, look to see where I can get bottles, how much the bottles would cost, how much the labels would cost, and I started working it out. And I don't know, raw dogged it, man. I came up with a couple of sketches on what I thought the logo should look like. And I posted those on Facebook and had people voting. But these are all my friends. I think I got like 10,000 people following my personal Facebook, not my business, but my personal Facebook. And I was just reaching out to people like that. And I decided that I wanted to scale it early on, but I didn't really have the means, the systems in place to really do that. And so I build businesses. I This is my 16th company. Yeah, so that's what I do. I build businesses, and I'm like, all right, so I need systems, I need recipes, I need trademarks, I need all of this stuff. And when I first started selling it, man, I was just selling it on Facebook. And Facebook is a really crappy method of selling it because there's no back end help. There's no notifications or anything. Like, you can sell like a bottle or three bottles of something, and unless you go into their portal,
Hmm.
you will never know that you sold anything because there's no notifications, there's no email, there's no text message. You don't get squat. You got to go into their portal and did I sell anything? And that was a pain in the ass. So I quickly moved over to a website where I started selling it. And most of my flavors, people were like, hey, I want this. Some of them were like, I wanted, but most of it was like people were like, "Hey, I need you to make me a version of this that's spicy." And I'm like, "I don't like spicy." So I did a lot of research on the spicy one. So did I answer your question?
Yes.
Travis, I will jump on rabbit trails.
You're
I will
fine. This is a
I will go all over
podcast.
the place.
This is your show. This is your episode. Go wherever you want. Were you bottling these yourself, or were you going through a co-packer, or did you have someone helping you bottle all these?
In the beginning, I was bottling it myself, operating under the cottage food laws. But
Mhm.
in order to scale and get bigger and get out from under the cottage food laws, you've got to have a commercial kitchen making it. So this has been a 2-year process. It wasn't quick. I didn't jump in and bam, all of a sudden. So it's been a 2-year process.
Wow.
Thursday, I got my very first order in that was just a part order because I was doing the event this past weekend. It was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So my co-packer was shipping me a pallet of my very first pallet of rubs that they made for me, so I can put it on Amazon and get it in any retail stores now. And I've got two flavors that I can do that with, and these are the two. So the all purpose and the MILF rub are the two that are co-packed that I can put on Amazon. But I got a couple of cases to get me through the event this past weekend, and I almost sold out. Today, about 30 minutes after you and I get off of this podcast, I've
Hmm.
got the rest of the pallet showing up in front of my house of almost 1,000 bottles. It's awesome. And I'm going to be trying to figure out where to put all these cases. My wife is, I guess we're just going to have cases of rub piled up in the bedroom. I'm like, yep.
All right, we're gonna switch it up to going through each one of your rubs and breaking them down. Let's start off with the MILF rub. Man, I love Freedom Steak Rub.
All right. This one is the first one that I came up with. This is my first blend because at the time I was living on my boat, and I don't have that boat anymore, just to clarify, but in my heart it's still mine. You know what I mean? I didn't want the payments, but man, I miss it. So my family had left for some reason. Maybe they had to go to my wife's mom's house for something. And I was there with the cat and the dog for a whole week. And I'm like, I'm doing this keto diet where I'm doing like only eggs, steak, and water. So I was doing carnivore. That's what it was. But I needed something that didn't have sugar in it, but that would pull the flavor of the meat out, pull the flavor of the eggs out. So I came up with this. It's a seasoned salt. So it has your salt, it's got some pepper, some garlic, some onion, some parsley, pretty basic stuff. But the blend I came up with specifically for steaks and eggs. Now, I found that it works good on a lot of other stuff. And people that have bought this and done TikTok videos, they put it on stuff, and I'm like, wow, I would have never thought to do that. But my wife has been using this now. Any recipe that calls for like salt, pepper, garlic, she
Hmm.
just substitutes and puts this in, and you get a little bit extra, but the recipe turns out awesome. Unlike some of the others where people like, oh, you have to own a grill to use this. No, you don't. This is used inside my house, on my stove, in my oven, way more than I ever use it on my grill. I put this on fried eggs almost every single morning. So that is the MILF rub. Did you have any questions about that?
No, no, and that's the best way to have it, so everybody can use it and not just put it just for the grill. Because most people cooking inside anyway. So it's definitely to have something that's versatile like that.
I had a bunch of people come up to me this weekend and say, hey man, I don't have a grill. I'm like, listen, you cook food every day. There's 6 different blends here. You can use these 6 different blends on almost every single meal that you cook, and you never have to light up your grill.
Just because it says barbecue, it give you a barbecue flavor, but it doesn't have to be on the grill.
Yep.
All right, let's move to the Pool Boy All-Purpose Barbecue Rub.
All right, there we go. This is your plain traditional barbecue flavor. You go to the store and you buy a bag of barbecue chips. This is the flavor that's probably going to come to mind. It's a sweet, smoky type of barbecue flavor. This is the bread and butter of the barbecue world here in my mind. You lay this down, it's a brown sugar base, and it just works. It just works as a barbecue blend.
Okay. And next one is the Rub Me Honey.
Rub me honey. All right. So people wanted something that was a little sweeter, slightly less of a kick, even though the all-purpose doesn't really have much of a kick. So a smidgen of cayenne pepper that you can't even taste. This one here is made with honey powder. So it's got the brown sugar, the honey powder. As a result, it's really sticky. If you can see that in the camera, I don't currently have any anti-clumping agents in this. So this is natural stuff. If you buy this, you might have to open it up and break it up with a fork before you use it. But rub me honey, baby.
All right, next up is the Mardi Gras Cajun
Mardi
season.
Gras. Awesome. Mardi Gras is one of my favorites. Like I said, I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, which is the home of Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras parades were invented in Mobile, happened long before New Orleans. New Orleans stole it and made it really popular, which is good. But this is a Cajun flavor. I like that Cajun flavor on like my shrimp, my fries, some fried food. I like that Cajun flavor. So I came up with this as a result of that. I wanted that Cajun seasoning. I wouldn't really classify this as a barbecue rub. This is a Cajun seasoning that anything that you're thinking about in your mind that you come up with is, man, this piece of meat would taste better with that Cajun flair to it. That's this. It does have a little bit of a kick to it, but it's not terrible. One of the favorite things that I like to make with the Mardi Gras rub is a fried shrimp taco. And I mix this in with the batter so it goes into the grease with this on it and I pull it out. And if it's just me eating it, I might sprinkle a little bit extra on top of the shrimp right when they come out of the oil. But it's a little bit too much kick for some of my kids. Kids don't have a really intense palate, but this is one of my favorites.
All right. And the next one is the Sunburn Sweet Heat.
Sunburn. Now, this is the one that people requested. They're like, Derrick, you got this all purpose and it's good, but I want something with some heat to it because there's people out there that really like spicy. I'm not one of them. So I'm like, you know what? What is a swimming pool related type of theme that I could put on this that would reflect heat and temperature? And I came up with sunburn for the name. But I'm like, all right, let me research peppers. So I did some Googling, did some researching of some peppers, and I came up with the Trinidad scorpion pepper because when you eat a Trinidad scorpion pepper, you don't taste the heat like right off. It comes in a couple of seconds later, just like a sunburn. So when you're out on the nude beach and you're having a great day and you don't really feel anything while you're out there, but once you get back to your room or maybe the next day, you're like, oh man, that hurts. I need to put some aloe vera on me. That's what this is. The heat, it's a sweet heat. So at first, you're going to take a bite, you're going to get a heat, you're going to get that sweetness, a little bit of heat. But as you swallow, you're going to be like, oh, okay, it's happening now, it's coming. So that's this sunburn.
All right. And wrapping it up, the Black Magic Seasoning.
Black Magic was also a highly requested blend. So this was my latest one, and this one was the one that I had to do the most tinkering with. Like the sunburn and the rub me honey, I just basically modified the all purpose with those, to be honest with you. This one I had to tinker with. I had to come up with something that was going to hit that blackened flavor, but still have its own unique flavor profile. So, something that the people that have used this have said is they use this as their blackened seasoning. And unlike some other blackens that they have to mix and add stuff to, they said that they don't have to add additional stuff to get that blackened profile that people really like when they're using the black magic.
And which one of the seasonings surprised you the most when it hit out to the public?
Surprised in what way?
As far as sales, as far as which one jumped off the shelf the most, which one jumps off the shelf the most?
Oh, to this day, the MILF rub is still my number one seller. It was my fourth released flavor, I think, but it has jumped to the top of the charts and it has stayed there consistently. I think it's because it's just so versatile, right? It's
Hmm.
a salt and pepper, garlic, onion, parsley, and I think because of that, people can use it on everything. Every like normal everyday stuff, fries, eggs. If they're doing some steamed broccoli or steamed veggies, they don't have to like do a teaspoon of sugar, do a teaspoon of salt and whatnot. There's no sugar in this, but do a teaspoon of pepper. They just use this, sprinkle it on there, boom, good. And I did not think that this one was going to fly off the shelves as
Hmm.
fast as it has. I nearly sold out of the bottles that I had this weekend. It is continuously the number one seller on our website, also.
And that's the one that feels the most personal to you out of all your blends?
It's the one that has helped me the most when I was doing my keto, and it's the one that me and my wife probably use most often because I use that every day. Whereas some of the others I'm not going to, but like I'm getting back into the carnivore diet, so I'm doing eggs and meat as much as possible, and I'm doing the MILF rub on that a lot simply because it's real easy. It's real basic to just put it on there and it really pulls the flavor of the meat out.
Okay. And what truly separates Pool Boy rubs from every other rub on the shelf?
That's a good question. I said earlier, I don't have an extensive flavor palette where I have tried a bunch of the other ones. I would say what separates it is the interactions that I, as the founder, has had with the end user.
Hmm.
So as I've sent out bottles and samples and they give me feedback and I've used that feedback to tweak it and change it and come up with something that everybody likes. And I've done that with every single blend. I have made some and then I've sent it out to about 10, 15, 20 people, gotten their feedback and be like, all right, so where does this blend need to be? Does it need more of this or less of that? Or what does it need? And I've been really one on one with as many of my customers as possible. These are customers, these are friends, people that are going to tell me the truth. I think that's probably the biggest thing that's probably the biggest thing. Some of these other blends, you have a company that is just so big, they come up with a blend and they're like, "Okay, let's slap a label on it. We're going to do 200,000 of them and send it out to Walmart and just let people buy it." And they are more profit centered than coming up with a a blend that has been tested by real people that use it in the field. These large investment companies that when you go to a grocery store, no matter what the brand name is, these large companies own a good chunk of that company and they're only in it for profit. And I'm not bashing them. Some of them are good, but they're using ingredients that is designed to make them the most profit. And I just want to build a company that, yeah, I want profit, sure. But I also want to build a company that I want a cult following. I want people to go, I'm using Pool Boy. That's
Hmm.
my go-to rub. That's what I'm looking for. Just people that are like, Pool Boy, that is my man. That is my rub. Versus I went down to Publix and I picked up some of that XYZ seasoning for $2 for a 2 pound bottle or whatever it is, because they're not
Hmm.
putting any, I don't know.
A lot of companies, when they start getting bigger, they sacrifice the quality for quantity. And you can tell by looking in the bottles that it's not mixed up right, where you see a lot of one color in one area and you have to shake it up to kind of get it mixed together and stuff like that. And people like y'all focus on quality and kind of upscale from there and keep the quality. So it's definitely a good thing that y'all doing because a lot of these companies, like I was talking to somebody, like Clorox, the bleach company owns Kingsford, I think Kingsford Charcoal, and a couple other companies, which is weird. Like they just,
Do they really?
yeah,
It doesn't shock me, brother. It doesn't shock me because there's this guy and he's on TikTok and YouTube, and what he does is he goes to stores, he takes a picture of all the different brands, and he does this red highlighter over all of them that are owned by the same company. And it's which one of these is a mom and pop brand. So the whole aisle will be like red, and there'll be like one that's like blue that's owned by, you can find him, but it's like there's a lot of big companies out there that just own so much of this stuff.
exactly. And the same products that I was telling my wife, like Marriott got so many hotels, but they different names, but they'll be right beside each other. Is this by Marriott, this by Marriott, and you got the regular Marriott. It's like they just people buying dish detergent owned by the same company. You got seven different detergent names by the same company, and it's just it do it to just to trick people. Just put it under one name. But so how has social media helped or help you build your brand?
Social media is everything, man. Social media has been everything for building the brand, because like I said, at first I was reaching out on my Facebook for people to, here's three versions of the logo. Which one do you like better, A, B, or C? Here's a blend that I'm thinking about. What do you guys want? Let me send you some. And even the shows that I do, like this past weekend,
Mhm.
I didn't get a lot of feedback, man. It was more of a, what does your stuff taste like? Here's a sample. I get that. And how much is it? And they grabbed it, and go. Now, I do have all of my social medias out there where people can scan and follow me. And I hope that maybe they'll reach out and be like, hey, I like this. I like it because of this reason. Or maybe they want me to change something, but that has been everything. Social media, Facebook, TikTok. Now TikTok has been really good. Instagram, not so much. YouTube, I can't figure YouTube out, man. I'll post a video that I posted on TikTok on YouTube, and it might get 2 views, it might get 2,000 views, and I have no idea, none whatsoever. Like I'll go like 1,500 views, 1,500 views, 300 views, 7 views, 500 views. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. But TikTok and Facebook, man, TikTok is it, man. TikTok is wonderful.
My favorite one is when you was in the restaurant and you pull your rub out.
Oh, yeah. You saw that.
That was hilarious. I was like, look at him. All right, let's do a short master class for those that might want to get into creating a rub. Can you give a couple of tips for those that may want to get into building their own rub and as well as trying to market it also?
Money. Find money. So money has been the absolute biggest thing for me, because I've had this business for 2 years now, and I've been piddling along, and then I didn't really go full time in it until 3 months back, where that's when I sold my little pool company that I built, and I was able to take the majority of that money and put it into the rub business. Because when you are blending rubs at your house, you are legally very limited to who you can sell those to. You can do it and you can sell it, but you have got to have a lot of safety protocols in place,
Mhm.
and it is frowned upon. As different states are going to have different rules, but I didn't even know cottage food laws was a thing, and I learned about those. Find money, sell your feet pics if you have to. I don't know, and then insurance. Insurance. Get yourself $1 million coverage. I think mine is just like a couple of $100 every couple of months, so maybe $1,000 for the policy. But if something happens, say you make some rub and somebody doesn't have a good reaction to it, you don't know what it is. You could lose everything.
Wow.
But if you could have a commercial kitchen make it, that's it. That is it. Because you get a lot more assurances because DHEC isn't involved heavily. And then you have a commercial insurance with those guys. And you can, once you start doing it on a bigger scale, you have less variations between bottles. So it's not so like I told you earlier, I've owned 16 companies. This has not been my easiest company. This is
Wow.
one of my hardest companies, actually. It's been very difficult to build and to come up with all of the back end stuff because there's a lot of back end stuff that people don't see or understand. And if you do not have the business owner mindset, I would tell you don't do it. Do not do it. You are going to get ran through the coals. It will not be fun if you do not understand how business works. I do because I've owned 16 companies, and man, the learning curve is very intense. But for those of you that want to do it, start off with about $25,000 to $30,000 is a good starting place. Insurance up front as much as you can, get all the stuff in place, domains, whatever you can get up front, and then start blending and then making sure people taste it and like it, or don't do whatever you like to do. But money and insurance, those are my two tips, I guess.
Definitely. And what's next for Pool Boy Rubs?
So next is I am working hard. I've actually been working hard for the past 3 months to try to get my two rubs on Amazon. And that's been difficult. So I'm working hard to get them on Amazon. And while I'm doing that, I'm also working to get them onto TikTok Shop. That is actually more exciting to me than getting on Amazon. And I was telling people, hey, wait to purchase until I'm on Amazon, because then you could leave me a 5-star and that'd be good. And Amazon will see that I'm getting reviews and I'm getting sales. So just hold off to a purchase. I'm not telling people that anymore, man, because I have learned that some of these other companies have waited over a year to get their products on Amazon. And I'm like, okay, poolboyrubs.com. You can buy it now. So I'm like, I would rather have the sales to be able to keep moving forward, because a business that doesn't have sales in over the long run is not a business. It's going to ultimately die. So those are two big things for me. But some local stuff here in the Florida area is I am working to get into the state fair, which is a really big thing. And then I'm looking at other cities to get into the state fair, just so that I can like recoup some of the money that I've spent, because I've spent four or five digits getting to where I'm at now. The pallet that I have coming in hopefully about 30 minutes to an hour, that was a large outlay of cash for just two blends. That was a large outlay of cash. Yeah, that's what's next. Getting into as many local shows as possible to get my name out to maybe people that are not following me on social media, getting more people to follow me on social media, because that's a big push. Yes, I want to make money while I'm at these shows, but that's almost second to getting people on board the Pool Boy Rubs train. You know what I mean? I want fans. I do. I want fans. I want you to come on board. I want you to taste my rub. I want you to make a video about it. And anybody who makes a video with my rub, I'm going to like it. I'm going to repost it. I'm going to comment. Every single comment in your comment section, I'm going to comment on every single, I'm going to boost your post by doubling the amount of comments, because I want you guys to be fans of the Pool Boy Rubs brand. And if you have any blends or flavors that you want, let me know. Like, I've had several people be like, I want you to do a coffee flavored. I hate coffee. So I'm like, I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to have to make something and then let a bunch of other people try it, because I'm not putting it in my mouth. People want coffee stuff. So far, I've been trying to make stuff that I want to eat. That's it.
Yeah, that's excellent. I hope the TikTok store would be good for you because you can make your own. I mean, like commercials on TikTok, and because that's what I did recently. Just made a commercial and just boosted it just to try it to boost. And I saw that it actually worked. I only spent, I think it was like $8 each day. I did it for 2 days just to see how it was, and it just went everywhere. And I did the same for Instagram, and that it's just like running your own commercial. So I like how they do that. And you can sell your own product, and then if you click a link and all that, it could probably go to your store and stuff like that. So I love how they do that.
TikTok is great. And the people who don't like it, these government morons that are trying to ban it and have been trying to ban it for years, they don't understand it, or they do, and they're trying to figure out how to profit from it. TikTok is good.
Definitely. All right. Thank you for that, Derek. Your therapy session is over. I got one quick game for you, and then I get you out of here. In college basketball, they have a tournament bracket. So I made a tournament bracket with 16 meats that you cook on the grill. Just tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one is the winner. All right. First matchup is hamburger versus steak.
Steak.
Okay. Next matchup is pork ribs versus pork belly.
Ribs.
All right. Next matchup is hot dog versus smoked chicken.
Smoked chicken.
All right. Next matchup is burnt ends versus pork chops.
Pork chops.
Okay. Next matchup is smoked turkey versus sausage.
Ooh. Smoked turkey.
Okay. Next matchup is smoked ham versus barbecue shrimp.
Ooh. I'm going to go with barbecue shrimp.
All right. Next matchup is lamb versus brisket.
Brisket.
All right. Next matchup, beef ribs versus smoked bologna.
Beef ribs.
All right. Next round matchup is steak versus pork ribs.
Steak.
Okay. Smoked chicken versus pork chops.
Smoked chicken.
Okay. Next matchup is turkey versus shrimp.
Shrimp.
Okay. Next matchup is brisket versus beef rib.
Brisket.
Okay. Final four, steak versus chicken.
Steak.
And shrimp versus brisket.
Brisket.
Okay. And the final two is steak versus brisket.
Steak.
All right. Steak is your winner. All right. And if you want to give your website and promote anything, you definitely can do that now.
Poolboyrubs.com is the website. And I currently, as of right now, have a couple of packages on there. I've got like a barbecue starter pack, and I've got another pack that has a t-shirt in it. And those are the two kind of products on my website that I'm most excited about. But those are limited time offers. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to come out, but if you're listening to this, go to the website, poolboyrubs.com, and see if it's still there. If it's not, then message me and be like, hey, Derek, you idiot, bring that back. I like it. So I'll figure it out. And that's what I can do as a small business. If you want me to put something on the website that's not there, I can do that as a small company because I'm very versatile now. Whereas these big companies, they're never going to read your email. I will.
It's definitely true. All right, well spoken. All right, on that note, everyone, we'll see y'all next episode. I built something onto my podcast that every barbecue brand should be a part of. It's called the BBQ Therapy Smoke Showdown Bracket. 16 meats you cook on the grill go head to head, and every guest picks their winner. It's one of the most engaging parts of the show. Every guest plays, and every listener loves it because no two brackets are the same. Now I'm opening it up for a presenting sponsor, meaning your brand becomes part of the segment every single show. This isn't just an ad, this becomes part of the show. And if you're interested, reach out to Tavis Bryant at BBQ Therapy Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for another therapy session. And remember, like, follow, and subscribe to help the barbecue therapy community. And also visit our website at www.bbqtherapypodcast.com.